Well, welcome to the show. Today we have Mitchell Thane with us. Mitchell is actually my videographer. He does an awesome job. I love what he does, and I'm very grateful for you coming out here. Honestly, he's here because I was self-conscious to be alone, so I needed a better looking face. So thanks for being out here.
Actually, he brought me on so he can feel a little bit better about how he looks. But that's all right. Details.
Good deal. Well, just a real quick, a little bit about us. In high school, we went to high school together. We were in the same math class. We never cheated off of each other, ever. Just want to make that clear. And then we always would compete on who could grow a better mustache. And I never told anyone this, but I was actually secretly covetous of Mitch because he could grow a better mustache than me. Well, I just want to talk about real estate briefly, and I want to go into what the House just passed. They just passed $15 minimum wage, which is crazy.
Unreal.
I'm surprised more people aren't talking about this. I see a couple little mentions here and there, but they just passed that. I mean, it still has to go through a bit of a process to become law and for that to be done. But if everything goes the way they're hoping it does, then by 2025, the minimum wage will have more than doubled. It's currently $7.25 right now, so it'll go up to $15 an hour. And that's going to be, it's going to change a lot of different things. And what most people don't understand is it's going to cause a good amount of inflation. So things aren't necessarily going to be more affordable. Maybe we'll see a little lapse where they are, but then everything's just going to take and pick up there because employers have to pay more to their employees. And naturally, if they have to pay more, then they have to start charging more for their products. And if they have to start charging more for their products, then then everything just becomes more expensive, and that $15 an hour isn't as awesome as it is today, right? Mm-hmm. So that's a little bit of what's going on here, and I want to talk about real estate and how that's going to affect us. So Mitch, say you're, I don't know, we're just going to throw an arbitrary easy numbers out there. Say you're making $50,000 a year right now. So of that $50,000, how much do you think you're actually, you'd be spending? What would you say your living expenses are right now?
Living expenses,
And sorry to interrupt, but right, Mitch, to play it out, Mitch is married, runs his own business. His wife also works and does a little bit of her own business on the side as well. Does that sound right?
Yeah,
so
totally.
Just to put a little bit of context on there.
For sure. So living expenses, probably around $4,000-ish a month is what we're doing to kind of keep up with everything, the lifestyle that we're living right now. So
$4,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good deal. So let's just, for this example, I'm not saying this is your income, but just we're throwing things out there. So say it's $60,000 a year is what you make.
Okay.
Right? Right off the bat, if you're self-employed, which you are, do you know how much the government takes from your taxes there, or how much you set aside?
I don't.
Being in real estate, you definitely find out that Uncle Sam is very generous with my wallet. So I take about a third of my income, and I set that aside to pay Uncle Sam. Very nice of him to always. I can always count on them sending me letters to make sure I pay.
Unfortunately, yeah.
So all right, so say you're. Let's just throw out arbitrary 100 to 1,000. And sorry for switching back and forth, but I just want to do a nice even round number.
For sure.
So $100,000 is your income, and for most people, it's like, wow, that's a good chunk of change, and it is a good chunk of change, right? But $100,000 of that $100,000 being self-employed, $33,000 goes to Uncle Sam, right? And then you're left with about 67.
Mm-hmm.
So 67, if your expenses are about $4,000 a month, what does that cover?
What does $4,000 cover?
Mm-hmm.
Right now it covers pretty much everything I need. I don't know if that's what you're talking about specifically,
yeah,
but that's covering our rent, it's covering our gas, some of our debt payments, it's covering all our utilities. It's giving us some money to be able to put into different little savings things. So kind of covers everything that we need.
Good deal.
To live and also dress stylish,
To dress stylish, good deal.
Which is not an accurate representation of me today.
I don't know, that's a nice pocket right there. My shirt doesn't have a pocket.
Cabela's, $12. So, yeah.
Good deal. All right, so $4,000 a month, that's $48,000 a year. subtract that from the 67, you're left with, right, same math class, what are we left with?
Not very much.
Yeah, well, right.
19,000.
19,000,
Yeah.
that's right. I got the same number, right?
Okay, we're doing good. I might have cheated off you for that one too.
All right. So 19,000. Right, that's 19,000. And does the 4,000, does that include, hey, is that some sort of emergency fund included in there if anything goes wrong? Okay.
No, not really.
So, all right, so let's take that and some between that, maybe charitable donations, whatever you need to do. I don't know. I just feel like there's always some sort of unexpected expenses that come across.
Always car tires blowing out, car issues in general, which I seem to have a lot. Camera gear, I mean, whatever it is, there's always something. Money just has a way of leaving.
Yeah, okay. So let's just say 10%. So another $10,000 there. So that leaves us with $9,000. After everything's said and done, we have $9,000. So what do most people do with that $9,000?
Stick it in savings, hope for the best.
Stick it in savings, hope for the best. Okay, good deal. So if I wanted to buy a house, let's say I wanted to buy a duplex. I like duplexes. I like multi-housing units because you're able to subsidize how much you're paying yourself, and then you're able to have a higher purchasing power, so more people are paying toward your mortgage. And by the end of the time, then you have more that's actually in your pocket, right? So a duplex. Say you find something, and we're in Utah here, specifically Utah County, so it's tough to find a duplex for $300,000. But let's say you find a home with an accessory apartment. You'll live there for a year. You can find that for $300,000. Maybe 3-bed, 2-bath upstairs, 2-bed, 1-bath downstairs. So we're taking that, right? And we're going to get back to minimum wage and how this all applies. So we're taking and doing that. So that $9,000 you do, there's a first-time home buyer program. If you can qualify for it, it's 3% down. So 3% of a $300,000 home, that's $9,000. So with that $9,000 you just took and you put it into something. Now you have this home with an accessory apartment. Your mortgage on that, you'd probably be looking right around $1,800. Maybe a little bit more, a little bit less, depending on credit. But let's say right around $1,800. So $1,800, you rent the downstairs for $900, you live upstairs for $900. So you're able to lower your rent a little bit there. It's tough to find any sort of 3-bed, 2-bath for $900 in Utah County, almost impossible.
Mm-hmm.
So you're doing that, right? And then let's say that you only did that one. All the rest of the years where you're making the $100,000, your $9,000, you take and you go on cruises, you go on this, you do a little bit of maintenance. I mean, let's just forget about that. But that one property and see what happens to it. So all along the way, let's say we fast forward to 2025 when, I mean, what's proposed is that we have a hard $15 an hour, which is more than double of what we have. So theoretically, almost everything will double in price. So rent, right? Let's play that out and say it does double, which I think is very realistic. So if that rent doubles, now your $900 that you were charging for the 2-bed, 1-bath, after inflation and everything, now that covers the 2-bed, 1-bath covers all of that. And then, right, this is 6 years in the future. It's 2019 right now. So now you're living in your house for free. And then that $9,000, your home hasn't just done that. On average, just saying today's dollars, not incorporating inflation or anything like that. On average, a home goes up in value 4% every year. So that's just been the average for the last 100 years across the nation. Utah tends to do better, and Utah County tends to do even better than that. But let's just keep it conservative and say 4%. So 4% of 300,000, that's 12,000. For over the last 5 years, that's 60,000. Plus the amount that's being paid off of your mortgage, it's probably going to be right around 4,000 a year, 4,000, 4,000, 5,000, 5,000, right around that. So let's just say 4,000 for those 5 years, another 20,000. So you're at $80,000. And then on top of that, right, you've been able to live cheaper. And then if that
save more money,
if that does spike up, then then you're living for free essentially. So let's take and play all that out. Here, in another 6 years, you take and you sell that, and your $9,000 has made you almost $100,000. So you pay your $9,000 back to yourself, and now you have $90,000 more or less to take and do something with that. Is that not crazy?
Absolutely insane. And that's what I was going to say is like, well, understanding that inflation is going to happen, you know, what do you do to actually prepare for that, right? Other than just suck it up and, you know, realize that, you know, a gallon of milk is going to cost $6-7 now rather than $3. So, yeah, I mean, it makes sense because I have money that's just definitely sitting in my bank account that I don't really know what to deal with.
Yeah, give me a call.
There we go.
But seriously, like, let's play out the same situation, the $9,000, for that 1 year, and say I just take it and I put it in my bank account. So I took and put that in my bank account. Most banks aren't even getting 1% interest,
right.
But let's say they are. Or let's say you put it in a stock.
Okay.
And let's say the stock market's doing 10%, which is really good for the stock market. So 10%. And that goes up, let's see, that's 9,000, another 900. So it's about 13,000 is what you end up with instead of 100,000 by doing the stock market and not living there. And on top of that, if that inflation does take place and that does pass, then, I mean, all your money that you had put aside or in the stock market, I'm not sure what's going to go there and how that's going to affect the stock market.
Right.
It's a lot more volatile, the stock market is. So it can change much more rapidly than real estate typically does. So that's one option, right? Or let's say, hey, I just want to keep it and put it in my pocket, put it under my pillow. So that $9,000, that purchasing power that you have today with that $9,000, if minimum wage goes up double, it's going to pretty much half itself. So all that money that you had stored up in the bank has essentially halved itself. Is that not crazy?
That's actually painful to think about. I'm sitting here thinking of the ramifications of some of my financial decisions. I'm like, dang, maybe I need to look into some other options.
Good deal. Well, yeah, I just wanted to take a quick minute and talk about, I mean, I'm not saying, hey, this is your scenario, but right. I think this is a scenario that a lot of us can relate to in some way or another. Some of us are making $30,000 a year, but our expenses are maybe $10,000. And then you probably are... Maybe you're not self-employed and don't have to pay a ton in taxes that way. And because it's a lower income, you're taxed at a lower bracket and you have more money. So that's what I'm saying is one way or another, I think it's very smart to take and start preparing for the future, whether it is real estate, whether it is something else that's going to do well. Because if this does happen and that minimum wage is taken and put up there, then I don't want to be the guy with $100,000 in my bank account that now has the buying power of $50,000. So that's just a quick little update that I wanted to talk about and talk about a couple of different scenarios and how they play out there. So keep an eye on that. I'm curious to see what's going to happen and what the government's going to rule on that. But my just recommendation for everyone there is keep an eye out, and is your money working for you or are you working for your money? You eventually want to be able to make the switch and have your money start working for you, rather than you having to work for your money. I'm not a huge fan of being a slave to my money. I'd rather have it be a slave to me. I mean, if we are okay with slavery for money.
Which we're not.
Which
but that's
we're not.
When you phrase it like that, we're probably not okay.
All right.
But your knee-jerk reaction is, I mean, looking at kind of the trend of real estate and everything like that would be look for ways to invest in real estate and make something like that happen. And you think that somebody on an average American income right now, that's something reasonable for them? Have you been able to work with young couples or other people that might not have, you know, $20,000, $30,000? Because, you know, when I think about investing in real estate, I'm like, I got to have a lot of money to throw down. I got to have a lot of money and wiggle room for me to be able to want to invest in something like that. But would you say that that's not always necessarily the case?
Yeah, I mean 100%. So we're in Orem, right? And Lehigh is taking and growing a ton. And so that's kind of become a little bit of the hub of Utah County, between Utah County and Salt Lake County.
Right.
Lehigh's become very big. So if you're about 30 minutes away from Lehigh, then most people are happy or okay with that commute. So something that not a lot of people know of is there's a USDA rural housing loan that, I mean, a lender can go in and talk about all the details with you. But pretty much west of Lehigh, so Saratoga Springs and Eagle Mountain, And then south of the Spanish Fork River, which is Salem, Benjamin, Santaquin, Payson, all those qualify for this USDA rural housing loan. That's zero money down. And then your payments are pretty close to a conventional 3%, or even better than a lot of times than an FHA 3.5% down.
Wow.
So, I mean, there's always ways to do it. As being a first-time home buyer, I mean, there's definitely ways to do it. And there's, I mean, 3 of my buyers that I've helped get into a home this year, they came in with zero money down. We negotiated to have the sellers pay the closing costs, so they were able to get into their house. And one of them even had, I mean, as long as you have a little bit of money for the earnest money, 2 of them actually had a refund on their earnest money. They only had to do about $500 or $600 out of pocket to buy a home, which is a little bit crazy.
That's unheard of. Yeah, that's unreal.
But even that, their mortgage payment is right around what the rent would be for that, if it's just a single family home. And Utah, I don't remember the exact number, but I think we're about 23 in the nation for affordability, which means that the average income is able to take care of the home. It's not like a California where, you know, the affordability isn't very good there. I mean, housing is just really beats you up pretty good there. But in Utah, we're in a pretty good situation, and there's a lot of things that you can do.
All right. Well, I guess young married couples, there is hope for us. We can do this, and this is the guy to talk to. That's awesome. Good
There's
to know.
hope for everyone. But yeah, guys, hopefully some of that was beneficial to you. I want to talk about some current events of what's going on, how those play out for us, and then what are some of your different options. You have a lot of options, but the only option that I would say isn't a good option is to do nothing. If any of this has been beneficial to you, please feel free to subscribe to our channel. I think the link is going to be below. If not, it's going to be on this page. And if you need to reach out to me, feel free to reach me on Instagram. My username is Terry D. Bailey, and I respond to every DM. Thanks so much.